Hi there, everybody. Donovan Seidel here. After my last how-to video, I was asked by some of you how to create an adaptive click. Last time we looked at how to create a constant tempo click track. And while you can play rubato within that, sometimes our music requires us to apply ritardandi and accelerandi that we need to be able to follow with a click. So this is what an adaptive click is. We can use music that we create. We can play something into our computer or import it into our computer and then create something called an adaptive click. So let's do that now. I open up Logic Pro. Again, I'm working on a map and I love using Logic Pro as my DAW. So let's create an audio track and a software instrument track. Ooh, that's gonna feed back. There we go. Okay, over to our software instrument. And let's pull in a Klopfgeist, which is sort of a metronome sound. I like to use kick drum. Fantastic. So when we think about a click track, we need to become familiar with an idea of a grid, a tempo grid. A grid in a project is both tempo information and it is also meter information. So we have, in this project, we're working in a 4/4 meter at 120 beats per minute. Let's hear what that sounds like. I turn on the metronome here and we have a very constant and inexpressive 120 beats per minute in 4/4 time. Wonderful. So we are doing a process called reclocking here. And reclocking is really important. I use it on practically all my projects because if a producer comes to me and says, hey, I want some strings on this, or I want an orchestra behind my band, they'll send me a track and okay, I can drag that into an audio track and just start writing. But I want to be able to know that, you know, this is measure 1 and this is measure 2. And, you know, strings are going to come in at measure 64. And if I don't have the tempo information in here, my grid is going to be all over the place. It's not going to match the music. And that doesn't make for easy producing. And so this is the first step of most of my project. And it's a fun step, and I hope you like it. Okay, so let's find a piece of music that has some tempo variation in it. I'm going to take Franz Ferdinand's "Take Me Out" and drag it in. At about the 1 minute mark, there's this awesome rit that happens, and the tempo slows down into a really awesome groove. So let's find the 50-second mark. And just play this back. I'm just going to dip this volume so it doesn't blast you. Here we go. Good. Okay, so in Logic, we're doing non-destructive editing. And what I like to do, first thing, is find a beat. So we go to the 50-second mark and we zoom in and we can see these moderate peaks over here. Those are kick drum kicks. Let's go to the beginning of one of those. Good, that's a good place to start. So I select the audio region, unselected, selected, and we go Command T. That splits it into 2 parts. Let's get rid of this first part and pull it to the beginning. Now, don't worry, let's do an undo really quick. Even after I've deleted this over here, we can always pull it back out over here. This is non-destructive editing. We don't have to worry. So let's do it again. Command T splits it into 2. We select this, get rid of it, pull this all to the beginning of the project. This just prevents problems down the road. We make sure that that first kick hit happens on beat 1 of measure 1. Wonderful. Okay, so what we now have to do is tap along with the music. We've set up a Klopfgeist instrument over here. I want you to see my finger tapping along with music. So I press R for record. That gives us 1 measure of click, and then we're in. Here we go. Good, and now we're in a constant tempo. So first thing to do is open this up. We look at our first beat, and we can see that my timing was a little bit off. I want to make sure that beat 1 of measure 1 happens right where it should, which is at the beginning of the measure. So let's quantize this. It is a quarter note. We quantize it to a quarter note, and now it starts exactly as our audio track starts. Fantastic. Now we go up here. There's a little drop down menu here. This doesn't give us all the tools we want, so we're going to right click, go beat mapping. Wonderful. And we can see because our MIDI track is selected, it sort of ghostly shows up here, and that's because we can assign anything to beat mapping. In this case, it is MIDI information, and that MIDI information is quarter notes. So let's use that. We click on that MIDI region, we click on beat mapping, and we go beats from region. Each of those clicks that I laid in can be assigned to, it could be a bar, it could be a half note triplet. In this case, it is a quarter note. So we click on that and we go OK. Look at this downward trend of tempo information. That represents the RIT that is in the music, and then we're roughly at the same tempo, but let's open up a tempo list and look at all those tempo changes. We are adjusting our grid to match the click, which we've made to match the music. Wonderful. Okay, so we don't have to touch tempo again. Let's get rid of that, and we can pull this back up. Wonderful. And let's just play this, and I want you to notice how the beats up here correspond to the beats in the music. Good. Did you notice anything? Let's play it back here. Now, isn't that interesting? So because of the way we've chopped this out, there's actually sort of a measure of 2/4 that happens. Like maybe it happens right at the beginning, maybe it happens later. And what we'll do next is just add some meters. Because, you know, our meter in our music could travel all over the place. I want you to know how to change the meter so that your grid is consistent with the music that you're putting in. Fantastic. So let's assume that that last 2/4 measure happens right before that awesome groove starts happening. So those first 2 beats, or that whole measure, will be split out into a measure of 2/4. Let's go back up here to beats and project. We change this to a 2/4, and then right in the measure after, we change it to a 4/4. And let's just notice up here how the beats move. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1. Wonderful. Okay, fantastic. So now we're going to create the click track, sort of in the same way that we did the constant tempo click track. let's click over here on our Klopfgeist, and I go Command D. That duplicates all the settings within this track, including the Klopfgeist instrument. We can mute this now. And we have another Klopfgeist to work with. So let's do a measure of 4/4 with our click. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Sorry, I keep bumping my mic. There we go. Okay, so that gave us a 1 measure region that I clicked in. Let's make sure it's exact. We quantize it. Select all those MIDI notes, those 4 MIDI notes, and we go quarter note. Sometimes if quarter note is already selected, then I just press Q on the keyboard and that quantizes it. Let's also stretch these out so that the end of this note coincides with the beginning of this note. For that, we use a stretch tool. We select those MIDI notes and we go shift backslash. That stretches them out. Fantastic. Let's select them all. We go function, MIDI transform, fixed velocity. Let's change that velocity to be 100. We go operate, and that's changed their velocity. I like our downbeats to be slightly heavier. So let's go into a velocity tool, and we click and we move our mouse upward. Up to the maximum MIDI value of 127. Wonderful. Okay, so let's go back to our project view. Let's have this starting on measure 1. And we can stretch this out with the loop tool until we hit that 2/4 measure. Interesting. Let's copy this, paste it onto the 2/4 measure, and get rid of all these other loops. And let's take out 2 of those beats. Again, we're going to move our playhead to the next measure, which is the 4/4. Click on our region, go Command T, that splits it out into these 2 parts. We can get rid of those. And then put another set of loops of 4/4 down here. We click on the track, which selects everything within the track. And we go Command J, that joins everything. And now we have our click track. Let's hear how it sounds. Comes the 2/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Fantastic. If at any point you notice that the click isn't exactly with it, you can zoom in on that area. Do you hear how that second beat is a little bit late? So let's open the tempo map. We can see that, yeah, from the second beat on, we're at around a 135 or so. So let's change that first beat's tempo from 94 up to 120, something like that. That reflects, that rushes that first beat. So that may reflect down the road to something that we don't want. We can make up for it later. Let's hear how that sounds. Okay, fantastic. So let's make up for it over here. We've rushed a beat, that first beat over here. Let's take some time back over here because I heard the beats get ahead. So let's slow down the tempo over here. 2, 3, 4. Good. Maybe the second beat can be a little bit slower. Let's zoom in over here and change that to 115. See how we did. Good. That works. Wonderful. So now we have a click track. We can bounce this out. We go solo. We go bounce, and then we can create a click track of just the click track. If you like, you can include the actual track with that as well. You can pan them to different sides of your earphones. Sky's the limit. You can do whatever you like with this. Sometimes I like to do a video capture of this area, which is the measure count and the beat count, along with the audible click. That can be really helpful. But yeah, this is your tutorial for creating an adaptive click. I hope this helps. I use this in every one of my projects. Get used to doing this process. It is really, really helpful. It's going to help you down the road. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please comment in the YouTube video and I will try and get back to you. Hope you're well and stay safe. Bye.